Morning, students. Today we'll begin unit number 3, the two stories about flying. This unit has two different stories in it. The first one that we'll be doing is His First Flight, written by Liam O. Flaherty. Before we begin, let us go through just a bit of the chapter. This entire chapter is based on a young seagull. It's a kind of a bird, and its strong desire to fly in the open sky. But actually, the young seagull, it is his first flight. That's the also our name of our book also. So the bird is quite afraid to fly, and the story deals with overcoming its own fear and flying for the first time. So we'll begin the chapter, His First Flight. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and sisters had already flown away the day before. Means he was alone on the ledge. Ledge is a reef, high place on a mountainside, just like a ledge, and it is sitting there. It had two brothers and sisters. They had already flown away, means they knew how to fly the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Now he was afraid to fly with his brothers and sisters. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempt to flap its wing, he became afraid. He had also tried for the first time with his brothers and sisters trying to fly, but was afraid and didn't take the plunge. So didn't dive and didn't fly. Brink means the edge. At the edge he came and he saw that he was at a very good height. So he was afraid, thinking that he might fall and die. That's why he didn't take the last step. Attempt to flap his wings, he became afraid. So he was afraid, so he stopped. His brother and sister flew away. The great expanse means the spread of the sea. In front of him was a sea, and we know that it is very, very wide. The expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down. Now, from this we can understand that he was at a very high place. He was on a mountain top. Now he was afraid, and it seemed to him like miles down, and the ground was too deep for him. So he was afraid. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. See, this is what happens when people are afraid. It is always the first step that is difficult. After that, the journey becomes very easy. So here too, the bird didn't take the first step, and it didn't have the confidence in itself that his wings would support him. He thought that no doubt it is having the wings, yet he would not be able to fly and fall down on the rocks and die beneath. So this was the problem, and so he went back to his little hole and stayed there for the entire night. Even when each of his brother and his sisters, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. See, now the irony was that his brother and sister had more shorter wings than he actually had. He had good wings, but yet a big one than his brothers and sisters, but yet he did not have confidence. in himself. So he thought that he would not be able to fly, and that was the problem, that he failed to muster. Muster means to gather up courage and take the plunge. Plunge means the dive, which appeared to him so desperate. He was very desperate to fly. He was very eager to fly, but the thing was that he was lacking courage. That stopped him. His father and mother had come around, calling him shrilly. Now his parents came there, shouted, calling him, "Come on, come on." They were encouraging him to fly. Shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. Now, shrilly means in a very high pitch, very, very sharp sound, and upbraiding means very, very angrily, very, very means annoyingly. They started shouting angrily on him and telling him to take the plunge, but then too he was quite afraid, threatening him to let him starve. And they threatened him that if you will not fly, you will starve on that ledge. Nobody is going to give you anything to eat. You will not be able to eat for yourself, because now you have grown up. You need to hunt for yourself and eat. Nobody is going to feed you now. He flew away, but for the life of him, unless he flew away, but for the life of him, he could not move. Everything was against him. Yet the bird was still afraid, couldn't move, so much afraid it was. That was 24 hours ago. See, now that thing happened 24 hours ago. Still it did not he did not gather up the courage to fly. Since then nobody had come near him. After that nobody came near him. The day before, all day long, that day also, the all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for the fish. So the poor baby was looking. The brothers and sisters, the parents were teaching them how to fly, how to skim. Skim is moving, to move lightly just above the surface of the water. That is also a way the birds fly, especially the seabirds. And diving for the fish, just diving and catching the fish. The parents were teaching his brother. The poor guy was looking or watching from the top. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring. Now that is a kind of a small fish, and devour. Devour means eat quickly. See, eat. So his brother had actually learned the art of catching fish, eating, and he was watching all these things, standing on the rock, while his parents circled around, raising a proud crackle. Crackle means a sharp cry, and he was at the standing on the rock, and his parents were circling around him, flying around him, trying to motivate him so that he could come and fly for the first time. And all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff. And the parents, all the morning the whole family walked around the big plateau. Plateaus are actually mountains, but not very high and not even very sharp, having a flat kind of an edges, are known as plateaus. So big plateaus midway down the opposite cliff, taunting means again making fun of him with his cowardice, means cowardice, lack of courage, means they were telling that you lack courage, you are very much afraid to fly, you should fly just like your brother and sisters. And they were making fun of him, teasing him. Everything was against the poor bird. And pretending to be falling asleep, and still he closed his eyes. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. Now the sun was also ascending in the sky, blazing means hot. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. See, now the problem was the parents were not giving anything to eat. He had to dive for himself, catch the fish, learn to catch the fish. Now he was very, very hungry because he had not eaten since the previous night. Nobody came next to him. He stepped slowly out of the brink of the ledge and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wings, he closed one eye and then the other. See, now what he did? He was standing on the edge. He felt the heat. He stepped slowly out of the brink of the ledge and slowly he came to the edge, standing on one leg. Then he was standing just on his one leg and the other leg hidden under his wing. He took up the other leg and hid it under its wing. He closed one eye, then the other. Then he closed his eyes. Now, many people, even when we take a scary ride somewhere on an entertainment park, when we are afraid, what we do? Once we are in and then we feel afraid, at that time what we do? We just close our eyes, think that everything is okay. The same thing, the technique the bird was also applying and pretended to be falling asleep. So now he was pretending that he is asleep. He was trying to attract parents or brothers, anyone, so that they could come and help him. So still they took no notice. See, he wanted that they should feel pity on him, come next to him, but still they took no notice of him. Nobody noticed him what he's doing, because they wanted him, the bird itself, the baby bird itself, to take his first plunge. So nobody noticed him what he's doing. They were busy in their own work. He saw his two brothers and his sisters lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. See, what did they do? He thought that somebody would take pity on him, come and help him by showing that he was actually sleeping on his one leg and everything, but nobody noticed. And his brother and sisters were actually lying on the plateau, dozing. Dozing means means sleeping, with their head sunk into their neck. His father was peering. Peering means making an effort to maintain feathers, and his father was actually making an effort to maintain his feather. Just as when we go outside, we get ready. In the same way, he was cleaning his feathers, adjusting them. Birds always do after a good flight. The feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. See, this is what mother is, as we know, everyone, that nobody took notice of him, but actually the heart of the mother, may it be animal, birds or human beings, mother is the one who will always love you, who will always care for you and feel your pain. You should also not forget that, children. Always keep that in mind. Only his mother was looking at him. Now only the mother was worried, because she was worried about the baby bird. Looking at him, she was standing on a little high hump. Hump means a bulging part of a plateau, which is a bit above. Her white breast thrust forward. Now and again, she tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet. See, she was having a fish, and she tore a piece of fish, means she was breaking those small pieces of the fish that lay in her feet, that she had caught actually from the sea, and then scraped, means scraping, breaking into small pieces each other, making into small fragments, but with anger, scraping something with anger, each side of his beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened. Maddened means became angry very much. Now when the poor child was really, the little bird was now hungry since a very long time. Now he had to take some decision. The mother was holding a fish, scraping into small pieces. He wanted that to eat. Now he was maddened. Maddened means actually M-A-D, mad. M-A-D-D-E, and it maddened means becoming very, very angry. So when he saw food, he was mad with hunger. Maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way. And he was thinking how he loved to eat by tearing those fish and eating them, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. That means to sharpen it. Birds, many birds have the habit of sharpening their beak also. They just rub it to the rocks. So now he was just waiting. He was very, very eager to eat. And he remembered everything, how he used to eat previously. Ga ga ga, he cried, begging him to bring him some food. So he started crying to his mother that please send me some food, please come and give me the food as you used to give me previously. Cow, call, ah, she screamed back. Now the mother is replying. She is also calling to the baby bird. Derisively means in a manner showing someone that she or he is stupid. But he kept calling plaintively means sorrowfully. The bird, little bird, still kept on calling the mother that please come and give me something. I am very, very hungry. And after a 10 minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. After that, he screamed joyfully. His mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. Now he was happy that see, mother has caught another fish and she is coming towards me. Means I will get something to eat. Across to him with it. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet. So he was very, very eager that mother is coming and going to give me food. So he started tapping his feet against the rock, making a noise, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. Now he was very, very eager, thinking that mother is coming to me and going to give me that fish. I am going to eat. So he was tapping his feet and getting more to the edge of the rock. Flew across, but the mother flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted. Halted means hesitated, stopped, waited. She halted, her wings motionless, without any motion. The piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. See, now the mother, what did she do? Just hovered in front of him, a bit away. Just like we have seen the helicopters, it can move forward, backward, upward, everywhere. But even the chopper can stop at a single place without moving. So that is what the bird did. It came to him and stopped at a distance, motionless. And that fish was just within the reach of his beak, just very close. The fish on her beak, almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer. See, but the mother did not come and drop the fish at his feet. The mother didn't come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, now he was very, very, the food was in front of him, very, very hungry. He, hence the little seagull, he dived at the fish with a loud scream. He fell outward and downward into space. See, what did the mother do? The mother came and showed him the fish very, very close. So, trying to eat, trying to grab that fish, and mad with hunger, he dived at the fish. He jumped to eat that fish. With a loud scream, he fell outward. But where he was standing on the verge of the rock, on the ledge, and he forgot where he was. And in the process to get the fish, to eat that fish from the mother's beak, he fell down off the cliff, the rock, and downwards into space. Now obviously when you fall, there is nothing that you can hold to. So he was also just like falling into space. Then a monstrous, means very, very big, large terror seized him. Seize means to grab him. And when he fell, at that time he realized, oh God, I am falling. I am now not on the rock. Nobody is there to help me. Actually, the situation of hunger changed into a situation of fear. Seized him, means grabbed him, and his heart stood still. Obviously, it would happen if somebody would fall from such a height. So, almost his heart came to a standstill position. Now it was do or die position. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. Everything out of fear. He couldn't hear anything and lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings spread towards the wind, rushing against his breast feathers. And now what happened? That is a natural instinct. Nobody teaches the birds to fly, nobody teaches the animals to walk. It is just a part of nature that teaches them.